Okay, I recently gave a lecture about how to write better. And one of the good things about writing, to write well, is to be highly opinionated. That makes it more interesting because when you speak in person, you can make hand gestures, facial gestures, movements, there's body language, change your speed, volume, pitch, cadence, etc. So you got a lot you can work with to communicate effectively when you're talking. You can get feedback from the other person. But when you write, you don't have that. All you've got is your text. So good writing tends to be a little bit over the top, a little bit dramatic, and being strongly opinionated is much better to make things clear. Okay, so for example, like when you remember learning something or teaching, usually the person teaching you that was your favorite teachers, they were pretty opinionated. Like, my father, I'd do something when I was a kid with my dad, and if I did something stupid, my dad would say, "You just flunked your IQ test," okay? And so people have been kind of dumbed down and they're sort of passive. They have a hard time making sense of things, whereas a lot of things to me are obvious. For example, if somebody poisons your water with fluoride and aluminum, that means they don't like you. And so you should filter your water and be careful about trusting them. And then they poison your food with glyphosate on the non-organic soy, for example, atrazine on the non-organic corn. That means they don't like you if that's subsidized, okay? So learn from that. And the other thing is, when you talk about cultures, it's been known for many thousands of years. Everybody prefers the culture, the family they were born into, and the culture they were born into. That's normal. That's how it is everywhere in the world with all cultures. And Herodotus, the great ancient Greek historian, wrote this back in, around 450 BC. He was writing in particular about the war between the ancient Greeks and the Persians, okay? He was a half-breed, part Greek, part Persian. And although he favored the Greeks, he liked the Persians too. And he wrote about them in a very even-minded, fair, even positive way for the most part, okay? People, you like the group you were born into. You're used to seeing your mother, your father, your, co-ethnics, taking care of you when you're a kid. So you like them and you grow up in that culture, so it seems normal to you. And this is how it's been all through culture. Herodotus wrote that all people prefer their own race and their own culture that they were born into. And lots of other people have written that, and everybody knows it's true. Okay? So when Herodotus wrote this history of the Greek and Persian wars, one of these later writers came along, which was Plutarch, and he said that Herodotus is overrated. He's too much of a philobarbaros. So I had to look that one up. Philobarbaros means a barbarian lover, okay? Because he felt that he gave too much credit, too much favoritism to the Persians. Okay, and Plutarch himself was half Greek, half Roman, and he really just liked the Greeks and the Romans. The Greeks felt everybody who was not a Greek was a barbarian. Okay, so anyways, philobarbaros. Now, here's an Aristotelian syllogism. And by the way, I'm half Irish, half Puerto Rican, so I grew up in Roman Catholic on both sides of the family, so I like Roman Catholic. Okay, and I was married to a Roman Catholic, so I'm pretty used to that. And even though I know the current pope is a piece of crap, Antichrist, I think the religion itself is very good. Okay, so anyways, here's an Aristotelian syllogism. Cavemen were barbarians, savages, but we noticed that the cavemen would make a lot of paintings on the walls of their caves. Now, Christians make the most beautiful paintings all over the world. 99.9% of the nice paintings in the world are made by Christians. So, non-Christians hardly ever make paintings, which raises the question, are non-Christians lower than cavemen, like barbarians and savages? Okay, I'm just playing around, but you can see how that's kind of funny.